Imagine a night in a small laboratory. The air smells of dust, old wires, and hot computer lamps. You hear the rustling of paper, the hum of mechanisms, the quiet hum of fans. And there, in the midst of this chaos, he sits, a man who believes in the impossible. His eyes burn. He looks at the screen, where strange symbols flash. What if all the computers in the world could talk to each other? He thinks. Everyone around him laughs. Colleagues say, "This is a waste of time. No one will believe in your idea. This is unrealistic." But there is something inside him that does not allow him to stop. The small idea of a network connecting computers was born not in huge corporations or in dreamy fantasies, but in the hearts of a few determined people. These were engineers who saw the future where others saw chaos. They worked long hours, writing formulas, drawing diagrams on blackboards, discussing and arguing. Sometimes they cried in frustration when machines refused to work, when cables broke, when another patent was refused. But each small setback only strengthened their faith. The first steps were tiny. The transfer of the first packet of data between two computers seemed almost ridiculous. It was not the internet as we know it today. It was a tiny thread of light breaking through the darkness. But at that moment, everyone who was around felt something magical. They realized that they had been able to do the impossible. Hearts beat fast, eyes watered with joy. It was a small victory that promised a grand future. And from that moment on, the real struggle began. The world was not ready to accept their idea. Politicians nodded skeptically, scientists doubted, investors refused funding. They were thrown at their wheels. Every attempt to move forward required superhuman efforts. They worked nights, waking up to the noise of old machines, from the rumble of the laboratory, from the fear that everything would fall apart at one moment. And it was this perseverance that became their true asset. Here the internet was born, not as a technology, but as a dream. The dream that knowledge could travel instantly, that people from different parts of the world could communicate, that science, business, and creativity would be connected in a vast, living network. And every time someone said, "It's impossible," they answered with all their hearts, "We will do it." In this story, you will see how small ideas turn into grandiose projects, how the struggle with failures and critics makes a dream stronger, and how the perseverance of one or a few people can change the whole world. This is just the beginning. And if you're ready, we'll move on, through the first crises, the big risks, the first victories, and the moment when the whole world first hears about the internet. Because the truth is, this journey wasn't about technology. It was about heart, about courage, and about an unwavering belief in the impossible. If in the previous chapter we smelled dust and iron, now we taste disappointment. Imagine yourself in a big meeting in a government building, where the flickering light of a lamp casts shadows on stern faces. Before you stand the people who decide the fate of the funding. "It's a waste of money," they thunder. "No one will use this network," they add. And you hear the last shred of hope fall to the ground. Our hero and his team feel the weight of the world on their shoulders. Every cable, every signal, every line of code becomes a test. Old computers constantly freeze, data packets are lost, and bosses yell at every mistake. Colleagues lose faith, friends advise to leave this stupid idea. Sometimes it seems that the whole world has united against them. But in this chaos, true strength is born. They begin to see failures not as defeats, but as lessons. Every setback, every rejection, every critical glance becomes fuel for their determination. They gather in small rooms after formal meetings, discuss mistakes, laugh at their fears, and plan the next step. One such moment was forever remembered. The first attempt to transmit data between the two universities failed. Everything froze, and the signal went nowhere. But instead of giving up, they sat together on the lab floor, put their heads in their hands, and laughed, realizing that if they didn't try again, they would never know what might work. This crisis taught them the main thing. Big dreams always meet great resistance. And only those who are ready to withstand the blows, who are able to turn failures into fuel, can achieve success. They take an important symbolic step. They establish the first data transmission protocol, which will later become the basis of TCP/IP. It was a bold and risky step because no one yet knew whether it would work on a network scale. But it was precisely this that became a turning point. This small, almost imperceptible change in the rules of communication between computers opened the door to the future. And then a small miracle happens. After another failed attempt, the signal arrives. A single data packet pierces the darkness of the unknown, and the first hello flashes on the screen. There is no fanfare, no festive flares. There is only silence, and then quiet laughter and tears of joy. It was the first step towards the global network. In this part of the story, we see that crises are not the end, but the beginning. They lay the foundation for victory, make a team stronger, and teach the most important thing. If you dare to stand up for yourself and not give up, even the most impossible can become a reality. Imagine a laboratory at night, where the lamps give a soft yellow light, and the air is saturated with the smell of hot iron and freshly printed circuits. There, among the piles of wires and papers, a miracle happens. The first packet of data successfully reaches from one computer to another. The screen flashes, LO. The team holds its breath. Then, HEL. And finally, hello. It sounds simple, but for them it's magic. Hearts are pounding, hands are shaking, and eyes are shining with joy. They celebrate quietly in the lab, knowing that the world is not yet ready to understand the scale of what has happened. But they feel it with their whole bodies. They have taken the first step towards creating a new world. With this small victory comes confidence. They see that the idea works, that the network can connect people and machines. Gradually, step by step, new universities, labs, research centers are connected. Each new computer is a small victory, new proof that they are moving in the right direction. But even at this stage, the problems do not disappear. The system is still fragile, data packets are lost, connections are broken. Critics still scream that it is a waste of time. But now the team has an important resource, faith. They know that if they keep going, the dream will become a reality. And each small victory fuels their determination. There is a symbolic moment, the first major data collection between two universities. Yesterday's doubts and disappointments disappear when computers begin to exchange information instantly. They feel, this is not just a signal. This is the first step towards creating a world where knowledge will be accessible to all. This stage taught them a key lesson. Even small victories matter. Each tiny success reinforces faith, strengthens the team, and gives them the energy to move forward. They begin to dream not just of a network for universities, but of a global system that will change people's lives. And then the spark of a great transformation comes. Instead of limiting themselves to local networks, they start thinking about standards, protocols, ways to connect all the computers in the world. It's a bold, risky move that will define the future of the internet. In this part of the story, we see how the first small victories turn into confidence, how faith in one's own idea can overcome any doubts. This is the moment when the dream becomes real, and it is no longer possible to imagine that they can stop. Imagine a huge university hall. Voices ring, keys click, engineers shout to each other. Check the signal. Connect the nodes. Somewhere in the corner, an old modem hums softly, emphasizing every second of tension. This is not just an experiment. This is the moment when a small idea turns into something bigger than they could have imagined. The team understands that for the network to become real, a single standard is needed. TCP/IP, the protocol they are developing, becomes the heart of a new world. It is not just a technical detail. It is a symbol of faith in a common dream. Making this decision was dramatic. Arguments between engineers lasted all night. Everyone wanted to leave their own approach. But at a critical moment, the leaders find the courage to agree. They combine knowledge and experience, and this decision changes everything. The first global network begins to grow. In universities, research laboratories, and corporations, computers connect to each other, exchanging data, information, ideas. Each node is a small triumph. Each signal is a step towards a greater goal. In the rooms at night, the light of lamps reflects on the tired eyes of engineers, and hearts beat in unison with the signals running through the network. But transformation doesn't come without its challenges. Corporations are hesitant, government officials fear losing control, and some academics remind us we're still a long way from a global network. Crises force teams to look for new solutions, take risks, and sometimes go against the system. It's in these moments that true courage is born, not just to create, but to lead, not to follow. A symbolic moment comes when the first major university networks connect over a single protocol. This is not a show, not a celebratory event. There is only silence, and then quiet laughter, tears of joy, and the feeling that the world has just changed forever. And then they realize, this is not just a scientific project. This is a chance to create something grandiose, a world where knowledge and communication are available to everyone. From the laboratories of a small town, an idea goes out into the world. And although there are still many difficulties ahead, the first step has been taken. This part of the story shows an important transformation, a change of approach, new rules, bold decisions, a joining of efforts. It is a lesson for each of us. Even the most daring dreams require structure, a plan, and a willingness to take risks, but the result exceeds all expectations. Imagine the late 80s, early 90s. The world does not yet suspect that a revolution is taking place. On the streets, you can hear the sound of modems connecting, the rumble of the first servers. People from different parts of the world begin to feel a new rhythm, the rhythm of information exchange, which from now on becomes fast, easy, and accessible. The first wave of browsers and websites resemble bright neon signs on the streets at night, flashes of new ideas. The first online stores, discussion forums, and blogs where people share their thoughts. Yesterday's university laboratories are becoming the launching pad for companies that will change the world: Google, Amazon, Yahoo. Every click is a little magic. Every new site is a new step into the global network. But with the breakthrough comes problems. The speed of growth is frightening. The chaos of data threatens to crumble, and skeptics say, it's too fast, it's dangerous, it's not for everyone. Every day the team faces new challenges. Servers can't handle the load. Users are lost in information. Financial crises sneak up from unexpected directions. And yet they don't stop. Every challenge turns into an opportunity. Yesterday's failures become the foundation for security systems, faster communication, more convenient interfaces. Every turning point is a chance to make the network better, more reliable, closer to people. There is a bright spot: the first major global data exchange between continents. People in New York correspond with researchers in Tokyo. Students in London gain access to scientific articles from Sydney. It's not just technology. It's a sense that the world has become smaller and knowledge more accessible. This breakthrough taught them a key lesson: big dreams require bold steps. Sometimes you have to move forward even when the world isn't ready. Sometimes you have to risk everything to open up new possibilities. And now, standing in the middle of the laboratory, looking at a map of the world, where every dot is a new connected node, they experience something incredible. An idea that started with a small room with lamps and wires has turned into a living organism that unites millions of people. This part of the story shows the true scale, from a small team and a tiny signal to a global network that changes the way we live, work, and think. It is a moment of triumph, when perseverance and belief in one's own idea bear fruit beyond all expectations. Imagine the modern world, vast server rooms, where the walls are filled with the hum of machines and the cold light of LED lamps reflects on the faces of engineers. Every day, billions of people connect to the network, exchanging data, communicating, and creating new worlds. But growth brings with it new challenges. Cyber threats are becoming a real danger. Hackers, viruses, and breaches force teams to act quickly, look for new solutions, and implement security systems. Scientists and programmers are feeling the pressure. One mistake can undo all the progress. At the same time, ethical challenges are emerging. The internet has become accessible to everyone, but that doesn't mean everyone is using it correctly. The spread of fake news, data privacy, digital addictions are new battles that require wisdom and courage. Sometimes it seems that the whole world is against them again. But this is where the next level of courage is born. The team learns to adapt. They create security standards, develop digital ethics laws, launch educational projects for users. Each crisis becomes not a defeat, but fuel for development. They realize technology is just a tool, and most importantly, human responsibility and the ability to change with it. There is a memorable scene. The team sits in a dark server room, surrounded by hum and cold, and a red warning flashes on the screens about the threat. Instead of panic, they pool their knowledge, react quickly, and after a few hours the system stabilizes. Tears of joy and laughter are still there, next to the loud hum of machines. This is the moment when the team feels that crises make them stronger and the technology safer and more alive. The challenges of today have taught them the most important thing. The speed of change is inevitable, and only those who are ready to adapt are able to survive and thrive. This ability makes the network flexible, alive, capable of influencing billions of people and opening up new opportunities. And here we have the modern internet. Incredibly powerful, yet fragile, requiring attention, vigilance, and constant perseverance. This is a story not just about technology, but about the human spirit, about the ability to confront difficulties and create the future despite fears. Imagine dawn in a modern city. People wake up and everyone is already connected to the network. Smartphones are flashing with messages, laptops are loading news, servers are buzzing around the world. The internet has become part of our daily lives. It is not just technology. It is a living network of thoughts, ideas, and possibilities. Today, it connects billions of people. Students learn online, entrepreneurs launch businesses, doctors save lives through telemedicine, and artists share their creativity instantly. From a small laboratory with lamps and old computers to a global network that changes the way people live, it's an incredible transformation. But even now there are challenges: cybersecurity, privacy, digital ethics, information chaos. The world is changing rapidly, and those who are not ready to adapt are left behind. That is why the team that once created the first data packets continues to work, inventing new protocols, looking for innovations, educating a new generation. We look at a map of the world where every dot is an active node, and we understand this is just the beginning. The next discoveries are artificial intelligence, the space internet, new forms of communications. The possibilities are endless, and it all depends on our perseverance, courage, and belief in our own idea. A small idea in a lab has grown into a global network that connects humanity. And you, the listener, can be a part of this story too. Courage begins with one step, and you can take that step today.